Hey guys, what's up? There's this topic that has been tickling me for quite a while now, and that is the fact that certain games, very popular games nowadays actually, could be really called or considered as RPGs. And it's something that has been bugging me for a while because I used to know perfectly how to describe an RPG or how to differentiate an RPG from a game that's not an RPG. And this topic just came to my mind a couple of weeks ago, and I said I would like to bring this topic into discussion with all of you because I really would like to know what do you think about this. And the games I'm talking about most of them are quite popular. I think the best examples are the Legend of Zelda games and the Souls series, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne even. Those games that I have called as action RPGs in the past, but today I'm just not sure anymore. And Zelda is a franchise that I have never called the Legend of Zelda franchises RPGs, never, not a single one of them in my life. And today I just don't know anymore. I just don't know where I stand anymore with certain games. I mean, there are a lot of games that I have covered in this channel, once, twice, maybe 10 times, that I have no doubt they're RPGs, no doubt. But with a very small minority of games, just a few of them, like Legend of Zelda games, it's really hard for me to argue someone who's calling them an RPGs or not. I have been on the fence for the past few months on that particular topic because everything is a damn mess nowadays. Developers love to mix genres, to put everything, shoot 'em ups with RPG elements or first-person shooters with action platforming elements. It's a damn mess, and it's been like that for quite a while. It's not just in recent years. Those kind of experience have been there since the 90s, since the 80s. And back in the 80s, developers most likely, or even gamers, knew with absolute certainty what a role-playing game was. Even in the 90s. But since the 90s, a lot of other genres have been getting in the way, or developers have been mixing these genres with RPGs. There are RPGs with platforming elements, action RPGs, strategy RPGs, roguelike RPGs. It's like everything, thanks to that past, everything nowadays is an RPG. Call of Duty RPG. But without getting ahead of ourselves, let's go back to specifically the Legend of Zelda or Dark Souls. Whenever somebody asked me in the past why the Legend of Zelda was not an RPG, I always used to reply, well, the Zelda games they don't have heavy focus on the story. They have almost zero character development, and the RPG elements are barely there. They are there ever since the first NES game. There are some RPG elements in there, but most of them are kept to a minimum. So there are games. These are games, the Legend of Zelda games, that focus more on the adventure, on the action, on the puzzle solving, and all that stuff, diverting themselves a little bit away from a role-playing game. That was my answer back then. But now there are these Souls games, for example, the Souls series. The RPG elements in the Dark Souls series are strong, but there's almost zero focus on the story, and there's absolutely zero character development in those games. So I find these constant contradictions between my arguments nowadays that today I just can't answer. I don't know if these games are RPGs or not anymore, because if to me an RPG is a game that focuses on the story and character development, and then the Dark Souls don't have that, so should I stop calling them as RPGs? I have called them action RPGs ever since I turned this channel into English, ever since the first time I played those games. I have featured those games in some of my RPGs videos, top 10 JRPGs, this or that. They have been there. The Legend of Zelda, however, I have never included, never even once, a Zelda in any of my videos. Any of them. So, it's really weird, isn't it? And I have gotten to that point in which I can't just see things in black or white anymore. There's just so much stuff involved, so many genres, so many elements involved, that with certain games like the Zelda games or the Souls games, it's getting harder and harder to just determine if they're RPGs or not. And the question is, does it even matter? They're video games after all. But since this is an RPG oriented channel, I get that tickling in my head over and over again about those games. Which is exactly the reason why I thought to make this topic today, so you guys can have a discussion about this. I would love to read your comments. Why do you think these games are RPGs? Why do you think these games are not RPGs? There are other examples out there. What about Spellcaster and the Master System? Yeah, I know it's a very unknown game. What about the first Ys games on the Master System, on computers? I don't know, there are several examples out there that are of questionable precedence. I mean, you see these games, you play them, and you wonder, am I really playing an RPG? How can an RPG be 2 or 3 hours long? Even if I do everything, and we're talking about games, retro games from the 90s, early 90s and the 80s. Most of RPGs back then were not even 5 hours long. And today, it's kind of like inexcusable to have an RPG that's that short. Another perfect example is Muramasa. Muramasa on the Wii and on the PS Vita. You can beat that game in less than 10 hours, probably less. I beat mine on the Vita in 5 hours, with one character obviously. 5 hours. And I was like, is this really an RPG or not? It does have some character development, it does focus on the story, but RPG elements like leveling up and increasing your status and are kind of kept to a minimum. And I have seen some people saying that Muramasa is not an RPG, not even an action RPG, it's just an action game. And I have seen people that actually agree with me when I call that game an RPG. So it's a damn mess nowadays, and I would really like to read your comments. I would really love to just read the discussion, not for the sake of creating a discussion or an argument. I don't want to do that. Please be as respectful as possible to other people's opinions. We're talking about, we're not talking about trying to prove anything. It's not like I'm making that meme, that guy in the park on a table with a coffee and a sign saying, Zelda's not an RPG, prove me wrong, or Souls games are RPGs, prove me wrong. No, don't take that way. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do that between you guys and me, and I don't want you to do that among yourselves. What I want you to do is ask the question to yourselves. You know, to just think of these games and ask yourself if these games are RPGs or not. Just play any Legend of Zelda game and say, question it, question the game, say, is this really an RPG? Can I really call this as a role-playing game? And that's what I would like for you to do in the comment section. I probably won't participate a lot because right now I'm on the fence. I'm like, I just don't know anymore. I clearly know what is a role-playing game to me, and there are millions of examples that I could put there, but there are few exceptions like the Dark Souls games or the Legend of Zelda games, or even the Nier games. To me, there's no doubt that Nier games are RPGs because they are heavily story-focused. There's a lot of character development. There's a lot of quests involving the main story and surrounding the main story. There's leveling up systems, increasing your status. You do feel like you are role-playing as the characters. But I could be wrong. This is, after all, my entirely subjective opinion. And that's what you're gonna do in the comment section. Please, I would love to read your comments. I'm gonna be reading them and seeing if I catch something that really convinces me on where to stand on the Legend of Zelda games, on the Dark Souls games, and on many other games like Muramasa, for example. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I await your comments, please. Thank you very much. See you next time.